morning and welcome back. Morrissey is making news again. Morrissey reaffirms support for far-right party and claims everyone prefers their own race. Oh my god! So before we get started, do subscribe to the channel if you want to see it grow, like the video, share it around, comment because engagement really does help this channel in the algorithm. So, Morrissey has reaffirmed his support for the far-right anti-Islam party for Britain. So about them, what are their beliefs? They believe in the sovereignty of the United Kingdom, full authority of its people in the governance and direction of the nation. Okay, right. Want to leave the EU. Believes the government of the United Kingdom must place the interests of the British people over and above the citizens of other nations. Okay. Public service providers must be accountable to the British public. Democratic right to freedom of speech, excluding only direct incitement to violence. And they also don't. What they say that they're neither on the left or the right. Believes in free and fair elections with one vote in all public elections afforded to all citizens. Equality of all citizens before one law. You know what they're nodding to there. Sharia law? No. As determined by elected representatives in Parliament. Believes in the preservation of traditional British liberties. Low and appropriate inward migration to the UK in order to preserve traditional British liberties. The rights of the individual only. How amazing. How amazing. No group rights. No collective privilege. No, it's the individual only. And it's one law for you as well. There should be no discrimination in our society on the basis of skin colour, race, or ethnic heritage. All should be treated equally under the law. Doesn't sound very racist to me. Seem to be doing a shit job of being racists. Believes in the liberty of all citizens to live privately and without unnecessary state intrusion. Doesn't sound very fascistic. For Britain believes in a free market and capitalist economy. The reduction of taxation alongside increased efficiency in a publicly accountable public sector. There's a left-leaning bit there. Believes in freedom of thought and the rights of the individual to assent to or reject, love that bit, any philosophical, political or religious belief system without penalty or fear of religious blasphemy laws being disguised as hate crime. Oh, they're on it. Complete economic policy and position concerning Islam, and their conclusion of that is, for Britain defends the right of any religious person to worship as they see fit, individually or with others. Seems very, very fair, not restricting anyone. However, here we go then. Here's where the racist part's going to come out, isn't it? I mean, Islam isn't a race, but you can't expect the Guardian or the Independent to understand that. There is no intolerance in informing the British people what Islam teaches, nor is there any intolerance in taking robust measures to defend our tolerant society against the doctrine of violent religious tyranny. Doing so is the essence of preserving and promoting tolerance. Fair enough. So, are they censoring speech and stopping people being allowed to follow their religion? No, they're encouraging more teaching. So they're for more speech, more information. Interesting. So, what's Morrissey said? The UK is a dangerously hateful place now, and I think we need someone to put a stop to the lunacy and to speak for everyone. Yes, it's like the Tower of Babel. You know, that in the Old Testament, people were building a tower that was going to ascend heaven and people were going to be like gods. So God said, none of that, please. And that's how a load of different languages were invented. Because then people couldn't speak to each other, they're just speaking past each other, didn't understand, and they couldn't build anything anymore, and it fell into disarray. That's basically what's happening now. We're being more technologically advanced, becoming more like gods, and yet at the same time we can't really speak to each other because, you know, things are offensive, we're talking past each other, we don't understand. It's more tribal, and we're descending into chaos, essentially. So it's the story of Babel all over again. He said, I see the For Britain leader, Anne-Marie Waters, as this person. She is extremely intelligent, ferociously dedicated to this country. She is very engaging and also very funny at times. Fair enough. Didn't seem to be far right at all. About being racist. If you call someone a racist in modern Britain, you're telling them that you have run out of words. You are shutting the debate down or running off. The word is meaningless now. Everyone ultimately prefers their own race. Does this make everyone a racist? That just means in-group preferences, essentially, that you like people who are similar to yourself, and that can be for race as well as for thoughts. You're more likely to befriend somebody who thinks similarly to yourself. And he does go on to say, I'm using the Evening Standard here because the Independent cuts it off. The people who reduce every conversation down to a matter of race could be said to be the most traditionally racist because everything in life is not exclusively a question of race, so why make it so? Diversity can't possibly be a strength if everyone has ideas that will never correspond. Yes, fair enough. If you can't speak to each other because everybody's so hateful, then that's fair enough. But diversity of ideas is fine, because he seems to be saying that it's ideas and not just skin colour, in which case diversity of ideas is fine if we can work it out and actually have conversations. If borders are such terrible things, why do they ever exist in the first place? Borders bring order, yes, and it's also important to then defend your own country and decide what you want in your own country. Sort yourself out first, because it's easier to dissipate law and order within your borders. Create a lovely little peaceful island, and then if other countries decide to be little peaceful areas as well, then you can grow and trade and work with each other. Fair enough. In which case, eventually, maybe you won't need borders. But all the time, there are warring tribes and people who don't wish to come in peace, then borders are quite a good idea, because you get everyone on the same page and agreeing, together we are strong. I know, this now sounds fascistic to say an individual stick is weak, but a bundle of sticks, a faggot, is strong. Yes. Morrissey has faced criticism over previous comments about race, which included describing the Chinese as a subspecies and claiming halal slaughter requires certification that can only be given by supporters of ISIS. It is terrible, because they are given exemption based on religion. Normally you have to stun the animal before killing it, but this one, no, you just hang it upside down, cut its neck and let it bleed out. It's terrible. I mean, he is a very staunch animal rights activist and has been that way for a long time. So when you're wondering, subspecies, well, why is that? And it says here we go, is this article is more than 8 years old? Yes, because he calls Chinese a subspecies. So why does he say that? Because of their treatment of animals. There we go. So, did you see the thing on the news about their treatment of animals and animal welfare? Absolutely horrific. You can't help but feel the Chinese are a subspecies. Armitage said Morrissey was typically and deliberately provocative throughout the interview. He thought at the time it was a dangerous thing to say into a tape recorder. But he says, clearly, when it comes to animal rights and animal welfare, he's absolutely unshakable in his belief. In his view, if you treat an animal badly, you are less than human. I think that was his point. Right. So basically, for anyone who is a staunch animal rights activist and saying meat is murder and veganism is thinking of me as a person, not a thing, or as a someone, not a something. There you go. Veganism is thinking of me, I don't know, cow, as someone, not a something. There we are. In which case they'd agree, which again would be most of the independent leaders. So it seems as if they're trying to say that it's not. So now they're not for animal rights? I don't get it. Moving on. Back to this. He does mention about skinning animals alive is not something that he finds acceptable at all, even though that is what Chinese people have been doing who don't care. Here we go. There are no animal protection laws in China, and this results in the worst animal abuse and cruelty on the planet. It is indefensible. That was his point. Treating animals badly, then you forfeit your right to live. And how can you be human with the meaning to show humanity, or the humanity of it all is to show compassion, at which point it doesn't seem like you're showing your human nature very much. But if you're wondering his view on racism, he says, I abhor racism and oppression or cruelty in any kind and will not let this pass without being absolutely clear and emphatic. Racism is beyond common sense and has no place in our society. That's what he said. But just for the fun of it, let's show that he's had issues for a few months. Morrissey posters removed from Merseyrail stations. On the Merseyrail network, they've been taken down because one guy said that, here we go, a traveller on the Southport service to Moorfield contacted the company to ask if it agreed with Morrissey's opinions. A man who was not to be named said he had not been offended, but the company was asked if they thought it was appropriate, and they said any content used within advertising on the Merseyrail network does not reflect the organisation's values, and we apologise for any offence publication these posters may have caused, and they were from an external third party, but they took them down. And Morrissey here spoke about free speech here. With voice extended as breaking point, I call for the prosperity of free speech, the eradication of tyrant control. I call for diversity of opinion. I call for the total abolition of the abattoir. Throw that in as well. I call for peace. Above all, I call for civil society. Cool. And also, now he's postponed his July UK tour, including in Manchester, because that's where he's from. That's where I am. So it's close to new home. Tour was due to include 2 shows in the hometown of Manchester. Announcement came less than a day after his manager attacked plans for an anti-racism protest event in the city. The Love Music, Hate Racism. That was going on, and Morrissey's manager said, "We're in the business of creating music and performing music. We are actually not in the business of politics." And there was another record seller that has stopped stocking his, in fact it's the oldest in the UK, stopped selling his records because they disagree with his views. It's all about virtue signalling now. But here we have from Summit News, Paul Joseph Watson's website, just for some fun quotes to end. So, here we have, that's the, on cultural stagnation. That's the key to modern Britain. Only the mentally castrated are eligible for praise and awards. It's against the law to be intelligent. The dumb have inherited the earth. Because of this, British arts are controlled by completely limited possibilities, and the same faces appear anywhere and everywhere. And this is a nice little thing I'm thinking as well, that is question orders, question what you're told to do. Because if somebody is really emphatic about what they like and what they want to happen, then you're going to ask and say, hey, like, why is this happening? They think, oh my god, somebody actually cares. I'm so excited to be able to tell you. Let me say this to you because I love this idea and I think it's amazing. And they will tell you. Obviously, if they don't quite understand it or if they're ashamed of it, then they're like, oh, what are you questioning orders for? Fuck off. Go do what we tell you to do. So, well, what? This doesn't make any sense. There's a better way, but you're not listening. So you're insecure. What is it? Why are you taking it out on me? Think about it. And I'm not being invited to sing at the benefit concert for victims of the Manchester Arena bombing. He said, because I do look back in anger, I would have sang, world peace is none of your business, or life is a pigsty, or something truthful and meaningful. If my children had been killed in Manchester Arena, I wouldn't be lighting candles and swearing. I'd be in complete rage. Fair enough. Yeah, it's... Otherwise you're just going to, turn the other cheek, lay over and play dead until you are actually dead. Just capitulate to the enemy. Doesn't seem like a good idea. At least you've got to show strength, even if you don't necessarily use it. What is it? What the Jung said, was it have a sword but don't use it, essentially. As they're saying, disarm yourself. And that clearly doesn't work. Because even if you say, oh yes, I am belonging to Islam now, it's like, but you're the wrong sect. Goodbye. It's like, what? Don't understand. And you don't understand either, do you? Like, if we were to say, let's question, like, why the burqa? It's like, you're questioning God, that can't be good. Goodbye. It's like, well, surely it's good because then I get to understand more and become closer with God. Try and have a conversation, you know? It's like, it's modesty and it can't be skin tight, so the burkini doesn't make sense. That's why you should question it. Goodbye. Okay, on the Notre Dame fire, let's be realistic. It's arson. Oh, juicy conspiracies. Everybody knows that. You can judge it by the speed by which the corporate media rushed to call it an accident, even though the fire had just started, and no one was in any position to know anything. Brainwashing! It's about like hearing the full reason behind a plane crash, even though the plane has yet to hit the ocean. Not a great comparison, because you can know. You can say, well, our wings have fallen off. We can't create any lift. We're going to be in the ocean in a few seconds. That's why. Sorry. But yeah, it's more like they just said, hey, just say it's an accident because we don't want any conspiracy theories. And then they found out, it was. That's good. But hey, I'm all for juicy conspiracies. Why not? Saying Nigel Farage, obviously he would make a good Prime Minister if any of us can actually remember what a good Prime Minister is. It's a great one. Love it. Brexit. Without the people, nobody in high office gets paid. I think that's a very polite way of saying that if you dismiss the people enough, you're going to get another peasants' revolt, essentially. And you're not going to win, because without the people, the government is nothing. So, good luck, because you need the people to follow you peacefully, otherwise you're screwed. And also, the good reason for the Second Amendment, so well done, Americans. Anyway, that's it for now. It's been a bit of a long one, because it's been a bit of a fun tirade, so I hope you enjoyed. And I will see you next time. Have a lovely evening.